Welcome to the Everyday Greenhouse. I'm Kim, and I want to share with you 10 benefits of having a greenhouse, which I have discovered over the past 3 years since I built this one here. So these benefits apply to any style of greenhouse. This style is affordable, it's accessible, it's doable. Even if you don't have building experience, you can check out some of my other videos if you want to learn more about how I did it and what it takes to build something like this and what it costs. But I want to share with you what I have discovered over the past 3 years. So, starting with no particular order, the first one I want to start out with is protection for your plants. So, these plants in here are obviously protected from rain, they're protected from strong winds, and I close up the doors and they don't get damaged. If there's hail, they don't get damaged. I really like that, I've got landscaping all around the rest of my yard, but in here, I know that these plants are going to be okay. It's a little bit more of a controlled environment. So number two, along that same line is protection from frost in early spring and in late fall. So I can't say for sure that plants in a greenhouse will never have frost, but what I can tell you is the plants in my greenhouse have never had frost. I'm in zone 6A, 6B, northeastern Ohio, so we do get down to, I think our hardiness zone is about -10 below zero. And so we get snow, we get frost, we get ice, we get all of that. And I don't heat my greenhouse over the winter. That's a whole other topic. But in the late spring and the early fall, when we're starting to get frost, the plants in here have always been protected and they have never had frost on them. So what that means is I can put plants out here earlier in March, then I can put them in my yard. And it also means that in the fall, the plants that are in here right here are going to last a little bit longer, and I can come out here and enjoy this space a little bit longer, usually into a tiny bit into November, which is really nice to have that extension of the season. Number three for benefits is the ability to start seeds out here. So as I mentioned, I can come out here in March, and where I live in Ohio, that's about the time that I can get out here and I can start my seeds. Now, I might not be able to leave them out here overnight every night as the temperature varies wildly during that time. I may need to take them indoors overnight, but during the day, this heats up as the sun shines down on this plastic and it heats up inside, and it's a really nice environment to start the seeds. When you are first starting them, you may want to put another plastic microdome greenhouse on top of the seeds to keep the moisture in the soil because it does dry out a little bit quicker than it would in your house. And then as they get bigger, you can lift that a little bit more. Number four is related to that, but that is hardening off your seeds. So should you choose to start summer all of your seeds indoors, when it comes to the hardening off period, you can bring them out here. And because I have two doors, one on either end, I get a nice breeze, and that gives those seeds the nice um, breeze that they would have outside to help those strengthen those stems, help get some nice airflow going. Number five is extension of seasons. And I already mentioned this, but it's worth mentioning on its own. So in March, let's say when it's about 30, 35 degrees out here, if the sun has been shining for a few hours, it's going to be about 65 or 75 degrees in here, which is heaven right after a long winter. And so I can come out here in a t-shirt and sit down and enjoy just being out here and feeling warm, having a few plants out here that I've picked up. Um, and as I mentioned before, starting your seeds a little bit earlier out here. In November, at the end of the fall, as I mentioned, that extension. And so if you are doing succession planting, I don't do veggies in mine, but a lot of people do. And so if you're doing succession planting, then you've got a little bit more time that a greenhouse buys you. Number six is protection from animals. So I leave my doors open at this time of the year in the summer. So it's the beginning of August right now. I leave my doors open all day, but I do close them overnight. Now, during the day, not many animals come in here. I've got my sweet little outdoor kitty down here in to see me when I come out here. But other than that, and birds will sometimes fly in and out. Lots of insects and bugs fly in and out. Moles come through, but my yard is outside the greenhouse is full of squirrels and groundhogs and deer that come walking through, and all kinds other cats, all kinds of things. And they generally don't come in here. If they do, I don't know about it because they don't leave any evidence. They don't make any mess. Um, if I leave it open overnight, I've put a camera in here before, and it's actually really kind of fun and interesting to do that because I've left the camera in overnight and I saw the skunk walk through, I saw the raccoon walk through, I saw neighborhood cats walk through, I saw the squirrels hopping through. And again, I don't think they even did anything, they just like to hop through. Uh, Now, I do every once in a while, I'll see a mole in here. I know the mice come through. I don't try to prevent that. I don't know that I could, even if I wanted to. There's lots of little openings that they could certainly come in. The chipmunks do come in here too, but I don't know, for whatever reason, they don't seem to bother anything. I've uh, rarely find evidence of digging. I think I have once or twice, and then it kind of stopped. So for whatever reason, they don't bother things. The squirrels, who dig in everything else and all of my other pots, don't get up on the tables and dig through things. Again, if they are, I don't know it because I don't see the evidence. So it really is a nice protection from animals that want to get in your other pots and your other plants. So number 7 is a personal preference, but I wanted living space out here. And so I have 2 chairs, I have a table, and I come out here and read a book. I come out here and have a meal. I have a friend over. We have a glass of wine out here. All of the things that you might think of that would be really fun. It is a really nice hangout space for me. And during the summer, I come out here multiple times a day. And whether it's just to putter around, whether it's just to peek at things and see how everything is doing, um, it's just really nice. So to me, that was actually one of my main benefits, is that I wanted this little sanctuary type space where I'm surrounded by greenery and can just kind of come out and putter around. So that one is a huge benefit for me. So number 7, again, in no particular order, is having a potting bench, which I have in my front corner. I love having that there. I don't do really, really messy potting in here because I've got cedar mulch as my floor and I don't want to be picking the dirt out of that. Or I get a big bin so that I make less of a mess. But it's super nice when especially in the spring or anytime I'm going to get some new plants and I bring them in, I've got a place to set them, I got a place to look them over, prune them. Some of the things that are back in here, if I need to pull them out and do some pruning, then I can pull them out, set them on my potting bench, and just in general have a place to work. And that includes when I'm working on pots and things that are out in my yard. I can bring them in here, fix them all up, and then take them back out. So it's nice to have that extra little space. Now, number 9 is the ability to bring in some of my pots that are outside of my greenhouse and bring them in here. So I have pots on my deck, I have pots around the greenhouse, I have pots scattered through some of the gardens. I have pots in the front. I really like pots because I can move them around. I had a lot at my last house that I brought with me. So I like the ability to be able to bring them in here if there's heavy weather coming and I want to make sure that they don't get damaged. Maybe something's doing really well and I don't want to take the chance of losing it. I also like the ability to bring them in here just to move things around. Maybe it's not doing very well and I want to keep an eye on it or control its environment a little bit more. And so I can put it on one of the tables here and nurse it back to health, get it in good shape before I send it back outside. And number 10, which is super fun but also dangerous for my wallet, is the ability to pick up plants when I'm out shopping on a whim. So I see something that I wouldn't normally try, or I see something that's on the clearance rack and not looking so great. I don't have to have a place, in my landscape, in my yard, on my deck where I know I'm going to put it. I can bring it in here, I can try it out, I can have fun with it. This was something I did not anticipate before I had the greenhouse, but that first year after I had it, and when I started going to all the nurseries in the spring, I was, oh, I'll take one of these and I'll take this, oh, I'll take that, I'll take that. And it was a whole lot of fun. I've got to be careful with that. But the nice thing is, or people can give you plants. I mean, it's not all about buying. People can give you plants, but I've got space where everything doesn't have to match and everything doesn't have to follow some plan that I had. I can just kind of stick things in here, see how they go. It ends up being this fun, just mix of plants. I kind of like what you would expect to find if you went to a greenhouse, where you can tell somebody has just gathered things and things have been given to them and they've collected things over the years. So there are 10 reasons why having a greenhouse is really, really fun. Uh, Again, this one, was not super expensive. It can be built for between $300 and $700 roughly, depending on what materials you use, depending on what materials you already have on hand, how much you want to do, how much you want to buy, and things like that. I did not have any building experience before I built this, but the design is very simple. It's also very flexible. You can make modifications here and there, things like that. And I only needed 2 power tools to do it, a power drill and a circular saw, which I also did not know how to use before I built this, but it was worth it to me to learn that. I used it as little as I had to, got as much lumber as I could get cut at the hardware store. There were a few pieces I had to cut on my own. So I learned how to do that because I really, really wanted a greenhouse. So if you are thinking that you would really like a greenhouse and you do have at least a little bit of land, I only have about 1/10 of an acre. I'm in a city, in a small city lot. Check out some of my other videos where I talk about some of the other aspects of what it takes to build it. Check out my website. I have a ton of free information step by step on there. If you want even more information, I do sell plans that give you the exact dimensions, a list you can take to the hardware store with you to purchase everything that you need. And I hope that this was really helpful for you. So the plant that I was holding when I first started is a caladium, and that is one of the new things that I tried with the greenhouse. So that last benefit that I was talking about, where you kind of get to pick up plants that you wouldn't normally try, this is one. And now actually I try to get some of them every year, and because I love them and they fill in so nicely in here. And I've taken them inside in the over winter some years. Some years I let them die. It just depends on what's going on and how the plants are looking. But I would love to hear from you. If you have a greenhouse, tell me what benefits you get from it. Tell me what you love about it. If you don't have a greenhouse and you have some more questions, drop those in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks and so long.